Imagine a world where your electricity bill is higher because you're just not poor enough. This is the world that we're living in or heading into, and I guess you could say this is like socialism 101. It's happening right now, and it's not only throughout Massachusetts. The more research I've been doing throughout the New England states, the more I see a correlation between these states. And again, it's happening throughout New England. And I don't know about you, but I'm personally sick of our administration here in Massachusetts playing Robin Hood with our tax dollars. And then you have a company like Eversource, who is our like friendly neighborhood utility monopoly, if you want to call it that. They just can't stop. They're going to be slamming Connecticut with a $3.2 billion rate hike by 2027. In Massachusetts, they're of course planning on dumping $5.5 billion into electric operations and, these so-called clean energy improvements or initiatives. That's what's going on. And at no surprise to anybody, not you, not me, we're paying for this. We're paying for upgrades on a system that we do not own. That's what's happening. Even New England is getting hit with the potential, I think it's $182 million cash grab, if you want to call it that as well. And I have to dive a little bit deeper into that. But in total, throughout New England, we're staring at something along the lines of like $9 billion in these so-called improvements by Eversource. It's a lot of money. But again, let's be honest here. These are not upgrades for us. They are upgrades on us. We are paying for these upgrades. And now Eversource, in some partnership probably with DPU, is trying to push this tiered discount system, like a tiered rate discount system. And Massachusetts is next in line. And I think the biggest tell here is, number one, I have not seen anything in regards to how this system is going to work. Basically, what do the tiers look like? I also haven't seen anybody reporting on this because they haven't even announced what the tier prices are going to be. And I don't know if they're going to be making it up along the way or what their intentions are. But to release what they're doing without actually telling the public how it's going to be conducted seems ridiculous. It does. Now, a similar program to this is already out in Connecticut, and I believe New Hampshire has it as well. But of course, after all this public scrutiny, they're trying to play defense, right? And convince our DPU, Department of Public Utilities, that this is the fair thing to do. So it's pretty simple. The idea is to give bigger discounts to the lowest income households while simultaneously charging more for the ones or to the ones that are not. Because somebody's got to cover that gap. They're not going to cover it, right? Eversource won't cover it. DPU's not going to cover it. You sure as hell know the state's not going to cover it. It's all on us. And I guess you could say we're in this together, for lack of a better term, right? So, it's everyone else that this is the problem. It's everyone else who doesn't qualify for the deepest discount. So that means the harder you work and the more money that you earn, the more likely you are to subsidize somebody else's bill. And you don't have an option in this, right? So let me break this down a little bit for you if you're still with me. Right now, Massachusetts gives currently a flat rate discount. Now, I don't know if this is through Eversource or, some of the other smaller companies throughout the state, but there's a 42% discount for electricity and 25% off for gas for low-income individuals. But under this new system, it's going to be 5 tiers. So the less money you have, the more likely you will probably save. But of course, if you're just above that, that level there or that threshold, you're basically SOL, okay? And worse, you're helping fund a program, as I said earlier, that you can't necessarily opt out of. So it's very similar to Mass Save, where you're putting money towards something that you may not be able to utilize, and it's going to cost you more. Furthermore, based on the estimates that I saw provided by Eversource, this entire thing is going to cost upwards of $2.4 to $2.7 million just to build like the infrastructure, the software, upgrading billing systems, redesigning the bill, probably to be less transparent, and more than likely they're going to update the portal, so on and so forth. Now, do you think that they're paying for that? Do you think that they're going to pay for that out of their profits? Of course they're not. That cost, along with, let's say, customer acquisition, customer mailings, longer call center times, extra income verification process, that's all going to eat up out of your pockets. And it's more than likely, when I think about it, it's probably going to end up in the delivery cost of your bill, because that's normally where they like to hide all of this stuff. By the way, this is not a one-time thing. I don't think there's an end date to this as far as I know. So this is not going to be for like 3 years or 5 years or 7 years. I didn't see anything with an end date. So the system is just going to keep on costing residents more money. So more customers, more customer service, more paperwork, and more administrative overhead that we have to pay for. And every one of those incremental costs is going to get passed on to the people that are just trying to make ends meet. That's who it affects the most. It's the middle class that these programs affect the most. So let's just call it what it is. It's not a discount program. It's some kind of, or it's not some kind of modernization effort. It's a hidden redistribution scheme that's going to be baked into your electricity bill. And I truly don't think this is about helping people, guys. I really think it's to help silence the people that have been complaining the loudest. Because if they wanted to do something, they would be proactive versus reactive, which we talk about a lot here, right? This is a reactive approach, not a proactive approach. The cat's already out of the bag, right? And this program only benefits some, not all. And when you think about it, our administration, DPU, and Eversource is really shifting the burden without transparency, without the consent of the taxpayer or the ratepayer. And there's never accountability, right? They're busy spending billions of dollars, and we are footing the bill in multiple ways. Again, as ratepayers, and again, if you look at as taxpayers, because I was looking up something called the Power Up Grant, which is another $385 million program. That could be a whole other video, but I think that's going to come out of the taxpayer money, not necessarily the ratepayer money. All in all, it's ridiculous. And it's also ridiculous that they have yet to release the tier schedule, so on and so forth. So they're telling you that this is what's happening, but they're also simultaneously not telling you how it's necessarily going to work and how much your bill is going to increase, because they probably don't even know. I don't know. I find this whole... The more I dig into this stuff, and I'm ranting a little bit here, but the more you dig into this stuff and the more you start to look at what's happened in other New England states, the more correlation that you could see between the New England states, the utilities, even in terms of, bills and policies that get passed. It's really crazy how there is that correlation throughout all of these states. And I'm going to cover more on that. I'm not going to expand into other states, but I at least want to take a look at other states to see if there's copycatting of bills and so on and so forth. But anyway, that's it for today's video, guys. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.